All right, everybody set?
Roll 'em.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mayberry Man Behind the Scenes. This is our first episode, and we are going to be joined today by Mayberry funny man, Ronnie Schell.
Hi, gang.
Ronnie, how are you today?
I've been here at the house for the last 3 months, like everyone else.
Exactly. So what we're hoping to do today is to really educate our followers, our backers, on what it's like to be an actor and perform on screen and be funny. You're the master. So we're hoping to tap your experience and your wisdom and your talents. And for those people who are going to actually be in the Mayberry Man movie, we want to try to kind of help educate them and give them a crash course in comedic acting. And who better than the master himself, funny man Ronnie Schell. So I have a couple of clips I want to play from your appearances back in the day on the Andy Griffith Show. And so I'll play a clip and then we'll kind of chat about it.
All right, everybody set?
Right.
Okay, Bob?
Roll 'em.
Oh, yeah, with Aunt Bee.
Oh, Andy!
Speed.
I'd like you to meet my nephew.
Hold it, cut. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to know you.
And this is Goober from the filling station.
Hey, I sure am happy to meet you.
Same here.
I'm the fella that fixed Mr. Foster's car, and that started the whole thing.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. My girl's already gone home. Princess Grace has one almost like it.
Nice. What do you think?
I think it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Examine it. It's fully let out ranch mink. Look at those skins. Real quality.
Yeah. Looks good.
So I love those clips. They're two different roles for you. Tell me a little bit about, kind of what you were doing as a comedic actor. And
Well, they were very revealing. I never looked so young. Both were very fun to do because I didn't have to tell jokes.
when you're playing the Furrier, what I love about that is sort of the physicality. I mean, it was subtle physicality, but kind of your body movements and things as you're showing off the fur. That's what made it funny.
Well, I always have that comedic edge. So it sneaks in there when I'm doing the dialogue, And if I have a gesture that's comical, I'll throw that in. And luckily, I applied that when I did Gomer Pyle. I did Gomer Pyle for 5 years. And I can tell you how I got the part. My manager, Dick Link, at the time, said, listen, we're going to do a spinoff from the Andy Griffith Show called the Gomer Pyle Show, where Gomer joins the Marines. And he took me aside wisely and said, let me tell you something. The producer of this show, Aaron Rubin, has an idea that for a television show to be a success, and I think it's true, you have to have one believable person. In other words, the sergeant was above reality, and so was Gomer and most of the characters. And then you have to have a character who is relatively sane and who can look at them and go, Jesus, these guys are nuts, like the viewer. So that gave me a good hint of what kind of character I was to play, mainly straight.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really nice.
Okay, Gomer. Who's the letter from?
Huh?
Who's the letter from? Blonde, brunette, or redhead?
Gray.
What?
It's from my grandpa.
Grandpa?
Grandpa Pyle. My grandpa on my daddy's side. And you know what? He was a cavalry sergeant in World War #1.
Cavalry sergeant, huh?
In the U.S. Army. Listen to this. So you joined the Marine Corps. I thought I learned you better. Ha ha. The Doughboys used to have a joke about the Marines, but I won't tell it to you as your mama wouldn't like me to. Anyway.
All right, men. Fall into the rear of the barracks on the double.
The reason I show that is because there's no comedy on your part.
That's a good example of what they were trying to have me be. At one point, I think I raised my eyebrows like, oh, God, what is this? And that's what the viewer would do after listening to Gomer, talking.
Jim had all the lines, most of the lines, and even your lines were really just to keep him talking. They didn't really, there was nothing to them. tell me a little bit about what that's like for the performer, as the performer having to deliver those kind of lines and just be there reacting. How do you keep it real for you? How do you keep from looking like, my dad would say, looking like a wooden Indian on set?
Well, a lot of great actors that I had the pleasure of working with told me from time to time that reacting to a situation is just as important as acting. So in scenes like the one you saw, I was reacting to the silliness, well, I call it silliness of Gomer's love of his grandpa and stuff like that. So it fit right in.
So I got one more clip that I pulled from your show.
Some producers of the Dick Van Dyke Show were on the same lot where we filmed Gomer, and they thought I was very, very funny, and they wanted to do a show for me called Good Morning World about two radio personalities, and they let me really just do, comedy, because the character was basically a funny guy.
Blair, how do you feel about children?
Whose? Well, I'll see you out there, Carl.
What are you going to do, Andy?
Oh, I don't know, about an hour and a half.
Save a couple of minutes for me.
Right. Well, good luck.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Griffith.
Nice meeting you, Mr. Griffith.
Right.
Oh, he's a great guy. No, I tore this one for you. It's big. It's bigger.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Say, Mr. Reiner, what are you going to do tonight?
Oh, I think I'll do my Shakespeare routine. Oh, thank you, fellas.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Mr. Reiner. Nice meeting you, Mr. Reiner. Knock him dead, Carl. Reiner.
Is that my cigar here?
Yeah, well, that was really Carl Reiner who directed most of the Good Morning Worlds, and so I am just overjoyed to have a scene with it. Yeah, I forgot about that, and that was fun to do.
So, I don't know. You guys all knew each other, were very comfortable. They were playing the big shots in that scene, but I'm also anticipating for our Mayberry Man fans. When they find themselves on the set with some of you guys, they might be a little starstruck. They might be a little distracted, certainly distracted by all the cameras and lights and all that stuff. Do you have any advice for someone the first time they're going to be on a movie set?
Probably you guys have auditioned them in characters that are much like themselves. And that's why they got their part. And all I can say is just be yourself and react. If something happens and it's funny, laugh. If not, don't laugh. If you're scared, really act like you would be scared. And it'll come pretty easy, I think.
When you're performing as a member of that cast, and maybe you're in a more of a supporting role, you don't have many lines, but you're in the shot constantly. How do you keep from kind of just zoning out? How do you stay in character?
You do have to work at it because there are times, I'm sure in the 7 years that I worked with Jim, that I would zone out, and he would say, "You listening, Ronnie?" Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that's just natural.
And certainly you never want to look at the camera, but I saw in some of those clips that when I was examining them a little closer, you're doing a lot with your eyes, right? Just like you would in a real life situation. Yeah. You're kind of looking at different people. You're following the action, even if you're not talking.
Exactly.
You're staying engaged in what's going on, or you've got a second conversation going on in your head, right? Certainly that would be the case in that Gomer Pyle clip, right? You've got this. It's like, oh, another one of Gomer's stories. Yeah. When's he going to get to the point? Yeah, you've got something else going on in your head, right?
Yes.
When you're doing those early shows, how many takes was common?
About 4. Usually about 4. Yeah. Sometimes you get it the first time. The worst time it ever happened, or the longest, was an episode in which Sergeant Carter had to recite some airman's slogan or something like that. 37 times. 37 times. And we were in hysterics.
Well, that's not bad on paper, but what's the maximum rate of fire for the 81 millimeter motor? Yeah. Well, that's not bad on paper. But what's the maximum rate of fire for the 81 millimeter motor? Well, that don't look bad on paper, but what's the maximum rate of fire for the 81 millimeter motor?
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to do it out, Jim. Well, it don't look bad on paper, but what's the maximum rate of fire for the 81 millimeter motor? Well, it don't look bad on paper, but what's the maximum rate of fire for the 81 millimeter motor? Better start over.
2 Harry, take 6.
Yeah. All right.
Ready?
Oh, and I'm sure it just gets worse. The longer it goes, the harder it gets.
At the 30th take, the director said, you want to take a little break? And no, I want to hurry. Get this out of the way, he said. And so after 37 takes, it worked.
Well, I don't want to keep you. I appreciate your time and sharing some of your pearls of wisdom with us. And we are looking forward to September when we can get out of the house and out to Danville to kick off our production. I think it's going to be a blast, and we're committed to making a great film, even though we're on a shoestring budget. And we appreciate all the help from you veterans.
Don't do 37 takes.
We can't afford 37 takes.
Change the dialogue.
Exactly. Well, Ronnie, I want to thank you for joining us on Mayberry Man Behind the Scenes. We're looking forward to having you in the film, and I'm sure many of our supporters are excited about seeing you in action and maybe even being in a few scenes with you.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Ronnie. Be well.
And now, a Mayberry Man production update. Filming is now scheduled for September 2020, beginning in Danville, Indiana, followed by Mount Airy, North Carolina, and Los Angeles. If you haven't joined the Mayberry Man project yet, it's not too late. We understand contributing to a project like this may not make sense for everyone with today's economic uncertainty. But for those who are interested, we still have a limited number of opportunities to be in the movie as a background extra, a featured extra, which we call our Mr. Schwamp level, and we even have a few speaking roles at the actor level if you fit the character description. Or if you'd like to add movie producer to your resume, we have a few spots left at the associate producer and executive producer levels. And for business owners, you have a chance to put your business in the movie at the product placement level. There's a reason companies like Coca-Cola, Apple, and Mercedes do product placements in movies, and now you can too. Visit supportmayberryman.com to see what opportunities are still available. Also, we want as many Mayberry tribute artists as possible to be in the Mayberry Man movie. But for some, travel expenses to our filming locations may be standing in the way. So we've created a tribute artist fund. Contributions to the Tribute Artist Fund will be earmarked just for them. So go to supportmayberryman.com right now and don't miss out on the chance to be part of Mayberry history.